replacing a clutch on a Ducati dry clutch. Okay, remove your side panels. On an ST4S you can actually slacken off the screws and pull the top half of the panel off to get the side panel off. Next thing you need to do is move the hoses out the way. You can do this by tying everything back with string. Then you need to clean off the engine casings to stop any debris dropping in to the casings when you take them to bits. Take the clutch cover off, remove the clutch springs. I normally put everything in a box, and if you can, leave the tools in the box so when you go to put the stuff back you've got the tools there. Draw off the pressure plate. Use a magnet to remove the metal plates. Use Allen keys to remove the friction plates, but you can also do the same if you've got aluminium steel plates. Use a locking tool, 32mm socket. Take everything off, take the nut off, take the centre hub off for the clutch, pull that spacer out, undo those 13mm bolts. You need to put the tool back on to stop the clutch basket from spinning. As I said, it's a 13mm. Remove all of them, and the clutch basket's now missing, so now you can fit your new clutch basket. Okay, we're going a bit further than that. Give everything a wee clean. Right, that's the casing off and the secondary gear out when I'm changing the bearings on it. The bearings actually fell out almost. You can use nuts on your bolts to hold them in. I've taken two of the bolts off the battery box and moved it to the side so you've got better access. That's the spacer that sits in there on the input shaft. I think that's a new bearings fitted. Fitting a new fitting the spacer back in, fitting the bearing, replacing and putting a new seal on. Cleaning all the engine casings, making sure they're all nice and clean, putting that spacer back in. Also check your wee green washer, rubber washer as well. Oiling up the secondary gear and fitting it to the casing because it's a lot easier, and then putting two bolts in it so you can turn it round. Putting the goo on the mating surfaces. I've actually made these screwed rod attachments so that what happens is when you put the engine casing on, it's lined up so that the crank goes right in and square to the crankshaft oil seal. See, that's the casing back in. Taking the guide rods out, put the bolts back in, tightened it all back up, put the oil in it, start it up, and then refill it with oil. Removing the pressure switch so I can then also pour oil in there, which means it's got oil in it when the thing first starts up. Put Loctite in the holes that are going to hold on the clutch basket. Make sure that when you put that spacer back in that the O-rings on the inside, also make sure that the O-ring's intact. There's a hole there in that nut that's got to line up with a peg, so you see the oil level drops when you start it up. And then cut away your string or your cable